Hello and welcome to Your Favourite Teacher. This video will explore memory as a theme in the Power and Conflict poems. Memory often comes up in poetry, with poets using their own experience to give readers an understanding of what happened during history. Alongside this, it's a great way to create a connection between the reader and the words, as it often acts as a way to invite the reader to consider their own point of view on the subject. The poems we will look at in this video are The Emigre by Carol Rumens, Remains by Simon Armitage and Poppies by Jessie Ware. All three poems lend themselves to many themes which may come up in your exams, but all are connected through the use of memory and looking back on the past to come to terms with different events. First up, we have The Emigre, where the speaker is reflecting on her time spent growing up in a city abroad. The memories she shares are happy, but quite childlike, which highlights that she struggles to accept that this has become a place of tyranny and violence. Rumens cleverly uses light and dark imagery to separate the speaker's thoughts and feelings of her old and new home. Rumens opens with the line, "There was a country I left as a child." This immediately tells the reader that the poem will be a flashback of what she remembers about the country. The use of was hints that the country is not the same anymore, hence why she left. This is confirmed later in the first stanza when she says, "It may be sick with tyrants." Rumens has chosen to personify the city for it to appear infected by the cruel leaders now in power. However, the speaker is branded by an impression of sunlight, which is where the light imagery first comes into play to emphasise her childlike memories of her country. Also, using the verb branded suggests something negative, almost as if she fails to see the country as anything other than positive, despite having to leave because of the awful leadership. This invites the reader to question her understanding of what happened in the country and whether it is the happy place she remembers it to be as a child. In stanza 2, the speaker states the white streets of that city, the graceful slopes, which connotes purity and innocence, only strengthened by the adjective graceful. However, it again leaves the reader questioning whether her memories of the place are accurate. If it was such a magical place the way she describes, why did she leave? Why doesn't she believe it is sick with tyrants? Here, we begin to question her reliability as a narrator. Are her memories accurate? It confirms she's struggling to come to terms with the real reason she had to leave as an adult. Finally, in the last stanza, she says, "They accuse me of being dark in their free city," when talking about her new home. This is interesting, as you would think she would use light imagery to describe where she now lives, seeing as she is safe and out of harm's way. Again, this enhances the idea that the speaker is using her past to come to terms with her present, but is finding it difficult to break the positive memories she has as a child. The Emigre contrasts with Remains, where the soldier speaking is suffering PTSD and fighting the negative images of his time in Iraq or Afghanistan. The memories of the speaker in The Emigre seem to have a calming effect on her, whereas the memories the soldier experiences in Remains have a restless effect on him. Towards the end of the poem, in the 6th stanza, the soldier talks about being home on leave, but unable to stop visualising the looter killed at a bank whilst out on patrol. And he bursts again through the doors of the bank. This line has a harsh sounding tone, hinting that the soldier experiences these flashbacks suddenly, without warning. Using again confirms that the scenario is something that his subconscious mind constantly brings up, as if the memory is inescapable. This line is followed by "sleep and he's probably armed, possibly not," which is repeated from the start of the poem. This shows that even his sleep is disturbed, with the memory replaying in his mind, racking him with guilt. The fact that the memory even disturbs his sleep shows that he's powerless, which is ironic to the image we have of a soldier looking confident and intimidating. The final line of stanza 6 is incredibly powerful, and the drink and drugs won't flush him out. To flush something would mean to get rid of something unwanted. For the soldier, this is now a part of everyday life and a memory he will never be able to get rid of. This also brings to light how soldiers struggle to cope with PTSD, and there is a lack of help and support for them once returning home. So much so that they turn to drinking and medication to stop the memories and flashbacks. This emphasises the danger of negative memories if not dealt with properly by medical professionals and sheds light on the lack of support when it comes to male mental health. The last poem to explore is Poppies, which contrasts with both The Emigre and Remains because it details a mother's experience watching her son leave for the war and the memory of the day he leaves. As her son is getting ready to go, she reflects on him as a child, hinting at her worry of letting him leave when she still sees him as a young boy. Play at being Eskimos like we did when you were little. This personal anecdote from the mother creates a sense of human realism for the reader to relate to, emphasising that in her head, he's not old enough to go and fight for his country. The memory is softer and more positive compared to the military side of her son detailed elsewhere in the poem. In the final stanza, the mother says, "Slowly melting, I was brave as I walked with you to the front door," which shows her reflection upon watching her son leave the protection of her home. The door symbolises her acceptance of his choice, even though she remembers slowly melting, suggesting it was difficult to let him go. You also get the idea of her replaying the memory in her head and watching herself, and how she deals with her son going, rather than her son, creating a sense of the pain and anguish even though she has accepted his choice to go. Although the memories in Poppy's are negative, like those in Remains, they seem a lot softer. The mother cannot begin to relate to the horrors her son will probably see as he heads off to war, whereas the soldier in Remains details the horrors he witnessed and how they haunt him at night. Poppy's contrasts with the emigre because the mother stays at home and watches her son leave, which creates the pain. Whereas in the emigre, the woman leaves and the pain stems from struggling to understand why she had to leave in the first place, because all she has are happy memories. If memory were to come up as a theme in an exam-based situation, remember to select the poem that links well to memory and anchor your points from there. That way, it's easier to compare and contrast your two poems for your analysis, therefore getting you higher marks. I hope you found this video useful and it helps with your revision of the Power and Conflict poems. Make sure you have a look at the other videos in the Power and Conflict series. I'm Miss Shaw, thanks for watching.